Well, thank you very much for the introduction. I love the idea of the Southwest being the cutting edge of new thinking around embedding our environmental assets into all of our thinking. And I would say that because at the Southwest Coast Path, it travels 630 miles all the way from Minehead round to Poole, it attracts nearly 9 million visitors a year. That's day visitors, people within the region, and people from outside the region. And that investment from those visitors supports over 10,000 jobs. That's FTE jobs within the region all year round. And the walking economy is growing. It's a great opportunity. And yet the Southwest Coast Path has suffered 30% central government funding cuts since 2012. And last year, we fought off a 50% in-year funding cut that would have seen the Southwest Coast Path close because of those storms that like to visit us from time to time. That would have been a huge detriment to the entire region, and not just to our region, but actually to all national trails throughout the country. And I think that thinking, or lack of thinking, really highlights the lack of appreciation of the environmental assets that we have already. This is not just about new shiny things. This is about investing in the infrastructure and the assets we already have. And a small charity, the Southwest Coast Path Association, has stepped into that place to make up that funding gap and work with all of you as business leaders, but also with other organisations, and to try to meet that funding gap to keep the Coast Path in great shape. So I think it's a little bit of we've asked to come with our asks, and one of my asks, first of all, is to all of you to think about the environmental assets that you enjoy, the natural capital that ensures that your businesses thrive, and think about what you as a business could do today to value that, whether it's supporting the Wildlife Trust, the AONBs, the national parks, or anything that's important to you. And of course, the Southwest Coast Path could be on that list. I would also like to talk about tourism. I wanted to talk to you about, productivity value is complicated, isn't it? We know that people relocate to the Southwest because of the value of the environment. We know that the environment around us, the beautiful coast and countryside, attracts people to stay, attracts them to come and to invest. We know that the environment we have creates healthier, happier people. And those healthier, happy people are themselves going back to their high-value jobs and being more productive. So it's a virtuous circle. And we need to recognise that the environment, the coast and countryside, is viable because of the tourism asset that brings all year round visitors. We would like all year round visitors. Tourism spreads wealth from cities, from areas of high productivity into rural areas. Tourism is also our shop window. Can you believe that Visit Britain have evidenced the fact that people visiting are 19% more likely to invest in the area that they visited? I think there was some talk of balloon trips and so on from Steve. But it's true, isn't it? It attracts people here and makes them want to come back and invest. And recognition of our tourism value is incredibly important. I was delighted to see a banner up there showcasing our tourism assets. And yet we're pretty silent on the subject in all our strategies. And I think it's a real shame that tourism is seen as potentially the poor cousin because of its productivity value. But I think that's looking at it from a very narrow view. Did you know that the Southwest is not only the most productive region for domestic tourism, we've had that earlier in the presentations already given, but actually it's one of the fastest growing regions for inbound tourism. And in 2016, our inbound tourism grew by 25%. 25%. Is that our fastest growing export market, I wonder? Interestingly, I think we keep comparing ourselves to the Southeast. In the same year, the Southeast inbound economy shrank by 1%. Our distinctly local food and beverage offer and our tourism gives us access to coast and countryside and creates a rounded, more enjoyable experience for all of us. And we need to do much more for tourism in the Southwest and for the environment. And I'm calling on us, as the Southwest, to get behind the Tourism Authority's sector deal bid. It was published last week. It's really exciting. It gives us the opportunity to bid for a tourism zone. And in that bid, it gives the possibility of investment into both skills development and connectivity and the assets on which tourism exists. It gives us the opportunity to define new seasons and promote them to new audiences and really encourage that all-year-round tourism offer. All-year-round tourism gives us investment in the assets that we rely on all year as local people. So without too much going on about those subjects, what I'd like to do is ask that we continue to put the pressure on government to recognise and invest in the environmental assets we already have, the value of those. I would love us to see us put the environmental value of what we have in the investment framework of every single decision we make in business, in the LEPs, in the regions, about everything we do. And recognise the value of the whole, the low productivity, lower value jobs, but high volume within the supporting sectors of tourism and agri-food. Thank you.